Hi everybody and welcome to Wednesday Night Live with the Change Journey. Just getting myself a little bit sorted here, making sure I can see the comments. Beautiful. So if you are jumping on live, please let me know that you're there. Say hi, because it's always nice to know that people are sitting there watching me and not everybody is just watching the replay. It's nice to have somebody live with me on a Wednesday night. Before I get into tonight's live, where we're going to talk a lot about Spiritual Sally, I just want to reiterate my offer that came out on Tuesday, yesterday, the 1st of June, being the new month and the new season and everything, and I've decided to offer my clarity call, which I've been in the process of creating, to 3 people who'd like to test it out. So I'm really excited about it. There's this special little formula that I've created, and it involves a flower and flower analogies, and it's a beautiful message around the change and not the change, but how you change and how you can change. And so it's something that I'm going to start offering to a wider audience through webinars, but also to clients just for a little once off if they didn't want to do a full coaching package with me. It's just a really nice offer to have a clarity call. So I'm going to test it out with 3 people. I just need some feedback. I just want to run it through a couple of times with somebody who's willing to give me some honest feedback and appraisal or suggestions on how I can make it better. So if that is you, please let me know. Please reach out to me via private message or email or whatever it is. And I would love to put your name in the hat, because what I'm going to do is just really intuitively draw the people as I would draw the cards on a Sunday to see who I'm going to do the sessions with. So there were a couple of people that reached out and said they're thinking about it. So I just wanted to give some more time, and I'll probably do the draw on Friday and let those people know who is going to do the free clarity call with me. So if that is something that you're interested in and you'd just like to get a little clarity around something that you want to change in your life, then please let me know and I'll definitely put your name in the hat drawer, and you might be the lucky person to get a free call with me. So tonight is all about Spiritual Sally. Here she is. And her flower is the lotus, which, as we all know, or if you don't know, it's a very spiritual flower. You'll find a lot of alternative businesses use it in their logos specifically for that reason. I wasn't ever really a big fan of the lotus, and then when we went to Vietnam a couple of years ago, I saw them in real life and I was absolutely blown away, and they are one of the most beautiful flowers I've ever seen. So really in love with the lotus now that I have seen it in the real life and in its own environment, you know, just not sitting somewhere, I don't know, out of its environment. I hate seeing flowers out of their environment, but I love when I find a flower in its own environment, in the wild or wherever it is, and it's just doing its thing and you just go, wow, that is really majestic. So that was definitely me with the lotus flower. So Spiritual Sally is obviously all about spirituality, and tonight I wanted to I'm going to share a lot about what my spiritual beliefs are. I'm going to do that because I don't do it in the book. I didn't want to be too controversial in the book, and I didn't want to project my opinions onto everybody, because for me the thing about spirituality is it's really, really personal, and it doesn't actually matter what it is that you believe in. Spirituality is more for me about having a higher purpose or a bigger belief in yourself that makes things worthwhile. So if I look at the definition of spirituality that I put in the book, I'm going to read it. It's the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. So it's all about being in your spirit and soul. rather than in the day-to-day grind of your world. And for me, that is definitely where I sit. So I don't float around in my spiritual world all the time. I'm definitely grounded, and I'm definitely in my day-to-day material working life. But then I have this spiritual current running through it, which lightens it. I think it benefits it. Definitely helps me. I've had times where it has really given me the shits and things haven't worked out as what I had thought they were. And I was like, I'm going to give all this up. I'm done. I don't want to be spiritual anymore. I'm done. And I kind of do a little dummy spit. And I sit in that space for a little bit, and then I think, but what would fill that space? What would fill that belief, and what would fill that bigger purpose and that ulterior energy that I have because of my spiritual beliefs? If I gave all that away, what would fill it? And there's nothing that I can think of. And I end up with this really, really empty feeling inside me. And then I'm like, well, clearly it's something that I need and want in my life. So I'm not going to give it up. I'm actually going to be patient with it and trust it and know that it's going to do what it needs to do, even if I'm not really happy with it right now. So I guess it's a bit like a family member, you know, where you love them to death and you really want them in your life, but sometimes they give you the shits. And for me, that's what spirituality is like. Like, I love it, I adore it, I love it being in my life, but sometimes I just want to shake it up and go, can't you just do what I want you to do? Which is quite interesting. That's a bit of the control freak in me coming out. So spirituality is not religion. I just want to really say that up front. So for me, religion is something that is completely separate. And you can be religious and spiritual, you can be religious and not spiritual. I think for me the difference is if somebody is religious, they kind of follow this doctrine of what it is. So the religion states what it is that you're going to follow or the beliefs that you're going to have. And what I love about spirituality is it can be for you whatever it is that feels right for you. So for me, I have all these beliefs, and I'm going to talk about them in a minute. Things that I don't really, it's not that I don't get them, I totally get them. So I'm going to talk about astrology. Love astrology, think it's a great medium, but it's not something that I focus on as part of my spirituality. So I have astrology friends who are fully into it. And they say things like, when it's a full moon, I can't sleep. Or, did you feel the energy of the moon? Or, you know when people say, oh, Mercury's in retrograde, so we're all going nuts. Or whatever it is that they say. I don't feel any of that. Because it's not my core focus. And I think that that's something that I just really want to say tonight, is that for me, spirituality is not this doctrine set of rules that you have to follow. You can decide what it is that you believe in, and you can choose to take on bits about what you love. So do I read my horoscopes? Yes, I love them. Do I look up numerology? Yes, I love it. Would I buy my house based on numerology? No, it's not that important to me. Do I love looking at the stars and the moon? Yes. Do I have energetic reactions to a full moon or a new moon or a astrological event? No, because I'm just not in tune with that. And that's totally okay, because all those people that are in tune with that, that's their thing, and that's what they're loving, and that's what's giving them their higher purpose. And that's what spirituality is about. It's about having this higher purpose that gives you joy, brings you enthusiasm in life, keeps you going, really. And it's more than, I guess, I just can't explain it. It's just this massive, bigger, higher purpose that allows you to get through the day-to-day grind. for me. That's really what spirituality is. So, and it's up to you to find what that is for you. It could be astrology, it could be numerology, it could be shamanic stuff, beliefs, it can be healings, it can be color therapy, it can be art therapy, it can be anything that you want that is something that brings you relief from the day-to-day grind and gives you this higher purpose of living or whatever it is that you're looking for. That's what spirituality is for me. So for me, I subscribed to the Mike Dooley beliefs. So when I started, so let me just take a step back. For me, I think I was born incredibly spiritual. When I started doing my theta healing and I had some experiences, they were very similar to experiences I had when I was a little girl. So things that I could do when I was a little girl, I was learning in theta healing. When I was little, I was just doing them naturally. So I didn't really understand. But then as life happens and you grow up and you kind of, that was a make-believe kind of world, and I pushed that to the side. And then when I started doing theta healing, I was like, oh, actually, this is really inbuilt in me, and it's something I've always had. So it was a big eye-opener for me. So then I started looking into all different things about spirituality. I started with the Celestian Prophecy, loved it, loved everything about it. That was kind of my first dipping my toe in. Then dabbled with a few other people, did some Wayne Dyer, all those kinds of things, did Louise Hay, all the big people that you kind of do if you're searching spiritually. And then The Secret came out, which was a movie about manifestation and stuff. And one of the people on there was Mike Dooley. I don't even know how I found Mike Dooley. Actually, I think it might have just been through his notes from the universe. So every day he sends a note from the universe, and then I was hooked on those, and then I kind of started following Mike. Mike has a very public persona around his law of attraction and his infinite possibilities, but he's also got this huge, deep spiritual beliefs, and they've come out in a couple of his books, which I have bought. One's called Time and Space, and the other one's called Life on Earth. I'm just looking at them on my bookshelf. Oh, Deep Space, it's called. From Deep Space and Life on Earth. And that, they gave me more insight into his deeper spiritual beliefs. And when I was reading these, they were just like music to my ears. It was just like somebody explaining to me the alphabet, or reading me a fairy tale, something that just was like, this makes sense to me. So I wasn't forced into following him. It just flowed. It generated my interest. I just want to divert here and say that I've never been a studier. Hated school, hardly studied, just got through my HSC, didn't go to uni, went to business college, kind of fluffed through that, got good enough marks to get a job, and out I came. So I've never been a studier. But at the moment, I can't get enough of studying because I'm studying spiritual stuff, and I'm growing my horizons, and I'm creating more and more awareness in myself, and I'm loving it. So for me, this whole thing about study was, I just didn't have the right topic. So if I go back to Mike Dooley, I couldn't get enough. I read his books, I followed him, I did his program, I was doing everything. What I have since found out, which he doesn't hide, it's all the way through, is that Mike's opinions about spirituality came from a being called Seth, who was communicating through a lady called Jane Roberts in the 60s and 70s. So whilst I have loved for the last 10 years Mike Dooley, I'm now going straight to the source, and I'm reading Jane's books, specifically on Seth. Love it. Amazing. Get it. It's totally me. So this is what I believe. I believe that we are eternal beings. That we are eternal beings. I was just trying to think of another word, but I really can't. So that we are eternal beings, that we are up somewhere, up here, and we are choosing to come back down to earth in different lifetimes to learn different lessons, to have different experiences. So we're up there and we have this amazing world where everything is possible, but let's say we don't know what anger feels like, or we don't know what success feels like. And so we choose these lifetimes, and we choose who our parents are going to be. We choose who our siblings are going to be, and we kind of choose this life plan that says, I'm going to have these experiences so that I can learn X. Is it going to be heartache? Is it going to be success? Is it going to be, euphoria, being a millionaire, hardships, poverty, whatever it is? Like we say, I'm going to go down and I'm going to experience that in that lifetime. So we choose when we're going to go down, and we choose the parent, and we choose that that's going to be our baby, and we put our soul into that life, and off we go. So that through that lifetime, we have those experiences. Now that doesn't mean to say that our life is completely mapped out. So when you're in this body, you still then have free will, because this being that you are jumps down into this body to have these experiences, but it can't bring all the amazing energy and knowledge that it has from being this amazing being into this lifetime, because you wouldn't have those experiences. So you basically come down and have to start from scratch. So the decisions that you make in this lifetime are going to either they're going to lead you at some point to the lessons that you want, but it's not like you sat up there and went, right, every minute of the day is planned out. So you, as your little entity now down here on earth, have free will to decide where and what you're going to do. But in the back of your mind, you're still heading towards this goal of this life lesson of whatever it is. And part of that lifetime is for us to continually evolve consciously, because I feel like the planet and all of us are constantly evolving, that when we get to, thousands of millions of years down the track, we'll be this more evolved society where we are more spiritual and more aware, and we're not as much in the dark ages. Just to throw a spanner in that, Seth and Mike also say that you're not doing these in linear time. So time is very much an earth-based thing. So if you were a queen in the 1800s, you could be that queen right now. So I could be sitting here in 2021, but I could also be the queen in the 1800s at the same time, which is a really, really hard concept to grasp as a human. But I'm becoming more and more open to it. So that's kind of where I sit in my beliefs. And also just to sit around that is that we have soulmates. And these soulmates are people, are other spiritual, eternal beings that we say, hey, but when we're down there, I'll meet up with you and we can, hang out or do whatever. Or, you know what, in this lifetime, I'm going to be your brother. And we also make pacts with our other eternal beings so that they help you learn a lesson. So let's say that you're sitting up there and you said, well, I really want to learn, and I'm just making this up. I'm going to use me as an example. So let's say that me and my husband Scott are these eternal beings sitting up in wherever, and we say, okay, in this lifetime, we really just want to experience what beautiful love is and a beautiful partnership, and that's what we're going to do in this lifetime. And so we go down and we live our lives, and we've both been married to other people, and we've both had kids with other people, and then eventually through circumstances, we end up finding each other. And at that point, you go, oh my God, here we are. We're together, and now we're going to learn the lesson that we came here to learn, which is all very subconscious and all very energetic and behind the scenes, and you're not really aware of it. But there's little snippets of it. So the reason I use that example is because when I first met Scott on our very, very first date, we went to a pub, because that's very us, and we were talking and having a few drinks, and then we went to order a meal, and we were standing in the line in front of each other, like I was in front of him, and I turned around to face him to ask him what he was going to order, and it was like a romance movie. You know, where it slows down and the music starts and you just go, oh my God, that those people had a connection. It was like everything stopped, and our souls for that minute or whatever it was just connected. And it wasn't like we were looking at each other in the eye, or we hadn't even touched each other, we hadn't kissed, we hadn't held hands, we'd done nothing. But we were just standing really close in this line, and I asked him what he was going to order, and it might have been 30 seconds, but it was this amazing energy that we both felt. Now, I technically hadn't discovered my spirituality again then, so I didn't know what it was, and he didn't know what it was, but we have both spoken about it since, and it was a moment that was it was so important for both of us, and we could both feel the energy shift. So if you look at that in the big picture of my beliefs, it's that we had this pact, and we knew we were going to meet up again, and we just had that moment of connection, which was absolutely beautiful and so lovely. And yeah, so I just wanted to share those with you. And I just also want to say that this does not mean that these are the beliefs that you need to take on. These are my beliefs, and these are the beliefs that keep me going, and these are the beliefs that I know that when I pass on from this lifetime, I'm going to keep going. And I know that when I lose Scott at the end of this lifetime, I just have to wait until I get back to wherever we were, and I'm going to see him again. And I love that because it gives me hope and optimism. And, you know, like when somebody passes, if you know that this is the schedule of life, that you're going to go and do it again and again and again, then it's not as bad. And sometimes the other thing I just want to say is that I also believe that if you come down into this life for a lesson and you don't receive that lesson for whatever reason, then you'll come back and do that lesson again. So I'm very aware that there are people in this lifetime that I have chosen to be around, and I don't think I'm learning the lesson, and I don't think they're learning the lesson, and I really know that we will be together again in many more lifetimes trying to solve this lesson, but it won't be in this lifetime. And it's really interesting that I just came to peace with that because of my beliefs. So can you see how my beliefs give me peace? They bring me joy and peace, and they make me believe in something bigger and more than my day-to-day daily grind of going to work, get up, earn money, sleep, and then one day I'm going to die. Like, for me, there is just no joy or luster in that. And what I love about my spirituality is that there is such a bigger purpose to my life, and that's all it is. Spirituality is something that is going to give you a bigger purpose and a bigger meaning. So what I encourage you to do is, if you don't feel you have a spiritual belief or something that you feel passionate about, then start investigating, read books, listen to podcasts, do some journaling, do some free journaling and really ask your subconscious what it is that it wants to know. What are the lessons it's here to learn? You'll find all these answers if you keep asking questions. And I think that's something else that I just want to say about spirituality is, as much as we talk about the universe and out there, it's also in here, because what is out is within. And if I can give you one message in this change journey, is that you have all the answers within you. And that's the power of the journaling that I use in the book, is that all you need to do is keep tuning in to what is it that your subconscious wants, because your subconscious is part of that higher power that has the plan in place and has the lessons that you know you want to get. So it's just about following that. I hope that helps. I hope I've talked for a long time tonight. I've just looked at the clock. And I also can't see the comments. I'm not sure if anybody's commented, but please, I would love, love, love for you to share some of your spiritual beliefs, because I really want people to see that there are so many different options out there, and it's not about having one solution to spirituality, because it's about you finding what works for you. And it can be a mixture of everything, like it can be a bit of astrology and a bit of numerology and a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this. That's what I do. Like what I'm doing at the moment with this Seth stuff is really absorbing it and getting it in. And then my next, and then I'm doing something on lucid dreaming, which is all about becoming awake in your dreams so that you can be conscious in the unconscious. And that's a bit like the time travel kind of thing, that you might be jumping lives. And then I'm going to look at something called quantum jumping, where you can actually, through a meditation, jump from life to life. And that's getting quite out there. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but it excites me that you possibly could. And I love that. So Spiritual Sally is so my girl, friggin' love her. I highly recommend that you can try and bring some kind of spirituality into your life so that you have this bigger purpose and it helps you get through the daily grinds. Thanks for watching. Next week's going to be Flowing Faith. We are in the self-belief stage of the change journey. I just wanted to say that. So when we're talking about spirituality, it's all about self-belief, and it's about having this higher purpose to help you have that self-belief. So next week's Flowing Faith, we're going to talk about her, and then we're going to keep moving on into the next stage. So thank you, have a lovely night, and I hope to see you soon.